Is Rich Dad Poor Dad still relevant after 26 years? That's the question we'll be exploring today. This groundbreaking book has left an indelible mark on the world of personal finance since its publication in 1997. Penned by Robert Kiyosaki, it has been a beacon of financial education for millions around the globe. The book's principles, offering a fresh perspective on wealth and investment, have been debated, scrutinized, and embraced by financial enthusiasts and skeptics alike. But the question remains: how much of it still holds water in the fast-paced, ever-evolving financial world of today? This is not just about revisiting a classic, it's about understanding if the wisdom of yesterday still fits the bill of today, and if the teachings of a rich dad resonate with the current economic landscape. Stay tuned as we delve deeper into the principles of this influential book and compare it with modern financial advice. Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Poor Dad introduced several revolutionary principles. Let's dive into these. Firstly, Kiyosaki emphasized the importance of financial education. He argued that a lack of financial knowledge is the root cause of many financial problems. His message was clear: don't rely on a job for your financial security, but educate yourself about money. Learn about investments, taxes, and how money works. This knowledge, he argued, is your most powerful asset. Next, he introduced the concept of assets versus liabilities. In Kiyosaki's view, an asset is something that puts money in your pocket, while a liability is something that takes money out of it. This might sound simple, but he argued that many people confuse the two. For example, most people consider their home an asset, but if it's draining your finances with mortgage payments and maintenance costs, it's actually a liability. Kiyosaki's advice was to focus on building assets, like investments that generate income. Then Kiyosaki introduced the idea of making money work for you. Most people work for money, he said, but the rich make money work for them. This is achieved by investing in assets that generate passive income. The goal is to reach a point where your income from assets exceeds your expenses, achieving financial freedom. Lastly, Kiyosaki argued against the traditional advice of get a good job, save money, and invest in a diversified portfolio of stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. He believed this advice was outdated and risky. Instead, he advocated for taking control of your finances, investing in real estate, starting businesses, and becoming financially educated. These principles, revolutionary at the time, have shaped many a financial journey, but how do they hold up today? The financial world has evolved significantly since the book's publication. What does modern financial advice look like? Well, the landscape of finance has dramatically changed in the last quarter century. Yet some principles remain timeless, while new trends have emerged. Let's dip our toes into the waters of modern financial advice. One of the most endorsed strategies today is investing in index funds. Why, you may ask? It's simple. Index funds offer a low-cost way to diversify your portfolio. They mirror the performance of a specific index, such as the S&P 500. So instead of trying to beat the market, you're aiming to match it. This strategy is backed by the likes of Warren Buffett, who once said, "A low-cost index fund is the most sensible equity investment for the great majority of investors." Next, we can't overlook the rise of cryptocurrencies. From Bitcoin to Ethereum, these digital assets have become a new frontier for investment. While they're a high-risk, high-reward game, they've proven to offer enormous returns for those who understand and navigate them well. However, tread with caution. The volatility of this market is not for the faint-hearted. Then, there's the evergreen principle of diversification. It's the financial equivalent of not putting all your eggs in one basket. By spreading your investments across different asset classes, you reduce the risk of catastrophic losses. This principle is as relevant today as it was 26 years ago when Rich Dad Poor Dad was first published. Lastly, the importance of financial literacy cannot be overstated. Understanding how money works, from compound interest to tax implications, is a key element of modern financial advice. It's no longer enough to just earn money. One must also know how to manage, grow, and protect it. Modern financial advice seems to be a mix of old and new principles. Now let's see how the principles from Rich Dad Poor Dad compare. Now that we have a grasp on both, let's compare and contrast Rich Dad Poor Dad's principles with modern financial advice. First and foremost, let's talk about one of the book's main principles: financial education. Robert Kiyosaki urged his readers to educate themselves about finances, investments, and the market. This principle is as relevant today as it was 26 years ago. In the age of information, with boundless resources at our fingertips, it's easier than ever to keep learning and growing financially. However, while the principle of financial education remains steadfast, the methods have evolved. Traditional education systems may not adequately cover financial literacy. Today, there are countless online platforms, webinars, and ebooks dedicated to teaching financial literacy, making it more accessible than ever. Next, let's address the principle of investing in assets over liabilities. This is a cornerstone of Kiyosaki's philosophy, and it's still a solid piece of advice. However, the definition of what constitutes an asset has broadened significantly. In today's world, assets are not just real estate or stocks. They could be anything from digital currencies to intellectual properties. On the other hand, Kiyosaki's principle of working to learn, not to earn, may not be as universally applicable today. In an ideal world, we would all have the luxury to prioritize learning over earning. But the reality of rising living costs and economic instability means that for many, the immediate need to earn can't be overlooked. Another principle that has evolved is Kiyosaki's emphasis on entrepreneurship. While entrepreneurship is undoubtedly a viable path to wealth, it's not the only one. In today's gig economy, many find financial success through freelancing, contract work, or even creating content online. The definition of work has expanded, and with it, the routes to financial success. We also need to address a principle that may no longer be as relevant: the idea of avoiding traditional retirement plans. Kiyosaki was skeptical of 401(k)s and similar plans, favoring personal investment instead. However, the landscape has changed. Today, many financial advisors advocate for a balanced approach, combining personal investments with traditional retirement plans for a diversified portfolio. Lastly, let's look at Kiyosaki's principle of taking risks. He believed in taking financial risks to reap greater rewards. This principle holds true today, as no investment comes without risk. However, the types of risks and the ways to mitigate them have changed. As we can see, while some principles from Rich Dad, Poor Dad remain relevant, others have evolved with the changing financial landscape. So, is Rich Dad, Poor Dad still relevant after 26 years? That's the question we've been dissecting today. We've delved deep into the principles of this seminal book, comparing its teachings with modern financial advice. First, we explored the core principles of the book: financial independence, investing in assets, and the importance of financial education. These principles, despite the passage of over a quarter of a century, remain fundamentally sound. The call to take control of your financial destiny, to make money work for you, and not the other way around, is as relevant today as it was when the book was first published. Next, we looked at modern financial advice. We noted that while some of the specifics may have changed, the broad principles still align with those of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. We live in a world that's more complex, more connected, and faster-paced than ever. Yet, the advice to spend wisely, save diligently, and invest smartly remains timeless. Finally, we compared and contrasted the teachings of the book with today's financial landscape. We saw that while some of the book's teachings could benefit from an update to reflect today's economic realities, much of its wisdom still holds true. The book's emphasis on financial literacy, on understanding the difference between assets and liabilities, and on the importance of making your money work for you are all lessons that still resonate in today's world. So, to answer our initial question, yes, Rich Dad. Poor Dad is still relevant after 26 years. It's not a magic bullet, and it's not the only source of financial wisdom out there, but it provides a solid foundation for understanding the principles of wealth building. Remember, financial education is a lifelong journey, and whether it's from a 26-year-old book or the latest trends, there's always something new to learn. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe for more. Until next time.